What up, YouTube? It's your boy Banks, and we back in the building. You feel me? It's TRU Talks, cause TRU Talks. All right, let's get straight right into it. So you already know, man. Obviously, man, not great news for the Clippers. You already know. Saturday they had game 4. And they lost game 4. That was to tie this series to make it 2-2, but they lost. So now the Clippers are down 3-1. And, obviously, it's not a great situation. Only a small amount of teams or a few teams have come back from a 3-1 deficit. The latest ones have been the 2016 Cavs in the finals, but they were fully healthy, right? So, it's unfortunate that especially it's been announced that Kawhi's out for game 5 again. That he got an ACL sprain. This was the Clippers' window, obviously, to go to the finals. The fact that they got to the conference finals in the last 2 games without Kawhi, is a testament to just the team's depth and, guys stepping up like Reggie, Marcus Morris, PG, obviously, and the list goes on. So, Pat Bev as well. But, let's understand and let's go into what's basically happening and can they come back from a 3-1 deficit and what they would need to do in order to come back and, come down from it. Is it possible? Is it likely? Is it something that we could actually, they've won 4 games before in a row. So is it something that they could do again? So let's go into the context because I give you that context. Let's go straight right into it, boy. So you already know, like I said, they're obviously down 3-1, which is unfortunate. Remember, this is not a team in terms of the Suns that you could play around with, that you could be down 0-2 with. That's why that missed free throw, I said it's going to come back to bite them. That PG missed free throw, and even then, he missed the 2 free throws, but they were still up 1, right? The miscommunication, Cousins didn't shield to the basket, in terms of cutting off the vision, as well as, Batum not switching and, at least impeding the alley and giving up at least a 0.9 fadeaway. But that's going to come down to, to bite them. I've always said, because that's 1 game right now. Even if they lost the 1 game, that's 2-2 and you're in a better situation, right? So it's hard to go down 0-2 versus the Suns. You already know, like, it's the Suns, man. They're not nothing to play with. They're fully healthy, obviously, right? Chris Paul is back, and, they have 2 guys that are just pick and roll maestros in terms of Booker, in terms of CP3, and at worst, they can get their own one-on-one bucket. Then you have Ayton getting almost a 20-20 in the playoffs. Like, that's disgusting, right? That's why I said they can't go small ball. So the benefits that they normally had, right? That's been the Clippers' MO. That's why I said it's harder for them to, they might have to try it and give up. At least if you give up Ayton in the paint, at least it's 2s and maybe try it. You know what I'm saying? So I'll go with some solutions they could do in terms of coming back. But the reason why it's difficult for them, there's 2 main reasons, right? For the Clippers. The main reason, one is Ayton's presence and Ayton just being dominant automatically forces Zubats to stay out there because, again, like I said, that's why I said they can't go small ball versus an Ayton lineup like he would abuse. And they did that in the first game for like a quarter or so, and Ayton was killing, right? I think he had like 10 points, whatever he was doing. So they're like, Ty Lue obviously is smart, gonna adjust and said we can't do that shit, right? It's not like he's Gobert. He's not one of those, right? We can't do that, right? He can actually dominate the paint, and then he can face up, and if need be, he could post up, like, you know what I mean? And not only that, he's not defensively challenged on the defensive end where he's going to not go out to 3s and stuff like that. And the Suns are quick enough to rotate. If he is to make a mistake, they're quick enough and agile and athletic and lanky enough to rotate, get hands on the ball. You know what I mean? Like, it's a different demon. It's a different situation when it comes to the Suns, right? So, when you look at it from that perspective, obviously, that now forces Zubats to be out there. And Zubats does help, obviously, defensively with the offense, defensive rebounds and, cancels second chance opportunities to a certain extent. And he helps PG get open in some of the drop coverages when he sets a screen, right? But the problem is the paint. The paint, remember, if you look at the blueprint for the Clippers being effective in the Jazz series and being effective in the Mavs series, right? Being effective when they made their comeback run, even with Kawhi and even without Kawhi, right? In both series, what changed everything? When they went small and they were able to get 1 foot into the paint, right? Even whether it's through a screen or not, blow by, why, crossover, whatever, change direction. get into the paint. And once you get into the paint, then now the help comes and now you hit the shooters and mans are getting wide open shots, right? They do somewhat get open shots even in the last game, but majority of the shots aren't open. They're like, you have to create, you're forced to one-on-one, stuff like that, right? So that's twofold. Part of it is without even Zubats, even if they were to go small, the Suns have better one-on-one defense. You're not just blowing by them, right? You have to do multiple moves. You actually have to like kill them for them to be beat. And if they are beat, their help is enough to help and then get back to the shooter in time that now he doesn't get an open shot. So it's different. It's different, right? Even if you were to go small, it's different, right? But the main thing is they're not able to go small. So to get that opportunity and get those opportunities, it's less. It's less opportunities of catch and shoot. Like that offense that was clicking for them is not being used and not being utilized. So, that's one part of it. Another part of it is it's hard to just beat the Suns one-on-one. That's why you've seen LeBron and them struggle, right? You've seen that because they're open shots. One, they're not shooters, but they didn't have to help OD off LeBron. And if they did in the paint, they rotated fast enough and LeBron wasn't able to just blow by, get to the paint anyways, right? The same thing happened in the next series, right? Jokic obviously was that, but the other shooters and the guys weren't able to just kill one-on-one and penetrate, drive, and kick. So they were forced to a lot of one-on-one. That's why they shot their worst out of all series, right? So, with the NBA now, how it is everything comes off of touching the paint, driving, kick type of basketball. That's how you create movement, right? People always say ball movement, ball movement, ball movement, but this is another part of it too. Ball movement in the playoffs only works to a certain extent, second and first round. But when you get to the later rounds, when teams are better defensively, teams all locking in, they have a game plan, they know your weaknesses. Ball movement just doesn't be working. This is why you've seen the Golden State Warriors, just they get through the first, obviously the whole playoffs, even back then when they had their ball movement offense, right? When they get to the finals or whatever, but at the point, there's some point where they get, whether it's the finals or the conference finals, for the Golden State Warriors, it was the finals, that now your ball movement shit is going to be canceled and you're going to be forced to one-on-one. And that's why they needed the KD, right? This is the same thing that happens with a lot of these teams. A lot of these teams aren't elite enough shooting-wise that, their ball movement or movement off the ball wise, right? That normally their ball movement is starting from driving kick. Rarely do you see guys have an offense or two players like Clay and Steph that just continuously move, that's their ball movement. Whether the ball's moving or not, the player is moving. So now if they get one pass, it's technically like ball movement, even though it's player movement, right? So you don't have most shooters or most guys in the league don't move off the ball like they do with Steph and Clay. So their ball movement normally comes from driving kick or PNR, right? So when you switch everything, you're forcing guys to one-on-one, and that's what you're seeing with the Clippers. They're forced to play one-on-one. That's why you're seeing PG, he has to carry now, especially now. That's where you miss Kawhi because Kawhi was their one-on-one guy, right? When the Mavs switched everything and forced them to one-on-one, who was it in Game 6? It was Kawhi one-on-one, killing Finney-Smith, killing Luka, and, that's what he was doing in order to get that win and come back from down 3-2. Like, the Clippers have always been in a hole, but they've had Kawhi, or when they didn't have Kawhi, they've had that small ball offense with Gobert out there that it didn't matter if it was Kawhi or not. It mattered just blow by your guy, get to the paint, and they're going to help and kick to a shooter. And that dynamic, two of the dynamics are removed, right? One, you can't just blow by your guy. And the number two, three dynamics. So one, you can't just blow by your guy with the Suns. Two, you can't just, drive to the paint because Zubats is out there, because Aiden is out there. And three, you know what I'm saying? Kawhi is not there, right? So it's like they're at a disadvantage in so many different things that the way they were manipulating the game to make up for Kawhi's, injury, how he's not out there, and the deficiencies or the positive things that he brings to make up for the lack of what Kawhi would normally fix. They have to manipulate like they did in the Jazz series, and they can't do that with the Suns. So, the best thing, the solution, obviously, for the Clippers to do in order, if they want to come back from down 3-1 now, it's not impossible. Nothing's impossible. Anything can happen, right? Knock on wood, obviously, like you've seen, Trae Young roll ankle. Like, anything can happen in terms of injuries, in terms of making shots, in terms of a team going cold. Like, there's a lot of anythings that can happen in basketball. That's why it's hard to predict. You can kind of foresee based off the play style and based off IQ, but anything can happen. You've seen with the Nets, injuries, right? Kyrie rolled ankle, KD's foot on the line. Like, anything can happen where, it now changes the whole dynamic and the drastic, outcome of everything. So, when you look at it from that perspective, it's not impossible for them to not come back from 3-1 or to come back from 3-1. But, there's certain things that they might have to, like TRU might have to take or gamble on or take that risk on in order to come back because, the small ball, for instance, you have to pick the lesser of two evils. That's what the playoffs is all about. That's how coaches move. That's how they read film. It's like, which one is killing us? Which one would we rather? That's what it always is about. You're never going to stop everything. It's basketball players at a high level, elite superstars, elite tier players. You know what I mean? Man can create all of that type of stuff. You're never going to stop everything to a full T. They're not going to have 0 points on, you know what I mean? Like, come on now. You pick the lesser of two evils. That's how IQ moves. That's what's really IQ. What do we give up? What do we force? And the lesser of two evils, how often is it how often can they have this at a success rate that it actually will kill us? Because the other way is so easy for them. But if we force them to do this, yes, it might work and they might have ways to counter it, but is it potent enough? Can they get some misses through that? Can they go 5 for 10 on that? Can they go 3 for 10 on these type of takes, right? This is what you do. So, you have to pick and choose. So what the Clippers should do, and TRU's been adjusting throughout. You've seen even the Suns have adjusted. They put Mikal Bridges on PG because for length, you get what I'm saying? They've adjusted certain things as well. You've seen, obviously, the Clippers have adjusted. Again, you've seen the Zubats insertion, and then you've seen, they put Pat Bev on D-Book, and they've been doing things, and Pat Bev's been playing great defense too, right? They've been doing certain little things because before they had, I think, T-Man on D-Book, then they switched to put PG on D-Book, then they switched to put Pat Bev on D-Book. Now they put T-Man or PG when Pat Bev isn't in the game, but they've been doing little, matchup changes in terms of adjustments and stuff like that, to actually counter and, just adjustments. You've been seeing it. Coaches always adjust, right? I'm not going to list them all, but the one main adjustment that could maybe work in their favor is one, their best lineup has always been their small ball, right? Zubats out there. Again, there's some benefits, but there's some positives, but the benefits that they would get from the small ball outweighs all the benefits that Zubats brings to the table. And you can kind of manipulate, like, for instance, Zubats getting defensive rebounds, right? You can kind of manipulate that in terms of everybody crash rebounds. Before, everybody don't crash rebounds because Zubats is there. But now everybody crash rebounds. You can kind of, make up ground for the deficiency that lineup would bring. And that's what you've seen them do. Even with Gobert, everyone crash. Batum always box out. Everyone always right away box out Gobert if you can, and everybody else help crash. Sometimes you're going to give a Royce O'Neal rebound, right? You're going to give up one of those rebounds to one of those guys, a Bogdanovich rebound and stuff like that. But, is it enough to kill you versus guaranteed bucket, and no elite offense? You know what I mean? You have to pick and choose. So the benefit that they get from the small ball is that offense. They could drive and kick. They could do all of that. Now it's going to be hard to do it against the Suns, but you might have to run that risk and try it. So you might see them try it tonight. You know what I'm saying? In game, especially in every game's a game 7 for them. So they might try maybe for a quarter. If it doesn't work, maybe go back. But they haven't. It's not like they've been. That's the thing too. It's not like they've been blown out. That's one of the positive things. It's not like they've been blown out. All it comes down to, if PG snaps and be's better, if PG doesn't miss a 1-2 free throws like he's been doing, these are 2 games that could have been wins. It could be 3-1 for the Clippers, right? Game 4 could have been a win, and game 2. So when you look at it from that perspective, that's why it's hard sometimes to, do you drastically make an adjustment, or do you just fix up and fine tune the little things? Because if they fine tune the little things like, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, they've been playing great defense. Pat Bev's been fighting over the screen. They've been forcing even the Suns to one-on-one more so too as well too. But, what they could fix up is PG just be better on his ISOs, right? Put him more on the post. Do a little things to manipulate ways to cancel, or put him in more pick and roll, or put him in a staggered pick and roll. Put him off the ball. That's what I was saying mainly. They haven't run. Instead of having him ball handle, on ball pick and roll, put him off the ball. Bring Rondo in. Maybe he becomes the PG playmaker. He becomes the Chris Paul of the team. Let him run a pick and roll, and maybe he has to hit some mid range, right? And get into his bag that he's been doing with New Orleans and Celtics and stuff like that. Maybe you put him in that, and then have PG come off pin downs, come off ball screens, because off ball screens they're not really switching, right? With Zubac setting those screens. So there's other ways to manipulate, to fine tune. You know what I'm saying? What's going on here in terms of, the Clippers lineup and just mistakes, or being more on a, polished, oiled, well-oiled machine. So, obviously, again, these are close losses, so they're not getting blown out. So that's a positive thing. That is a great sign that they can come back from 3-1. But my only thing is the other thing. That's a general statement, right? It's close games, you can come back. But on the flip side, do you really trust the Clippers in close games? Yes, technically it's a close game, right? Anything can happen. But if you look at the blueprint and look at the history in this playoffs of the Clippers, close games, other than the Kawhi snapping, right? Most of the times they have the game in the bag by 3 minutes left. It's like, they're up 8 or something like that. But like, we're talking about like close 1-2 possession games under with 30 seconds, a minute, like those type of games. The Clippers haven't really won those games other than the Kawhi game, game 6. Most of the times they haven't really won those games. Most of the games they've won has been a amount of, a regular type of lead, regular cushion and stuff like that, or a blowout. And that's been the case for the Clippers, right? In close games, their closing hasn't been the greatest. You'll get a PG missed free throw. You'll get a turnover, or maybe a bad shot, a bad defensive, allowing. But on the other hand, with the Suns, they've closed a lot of these games. They have 2 closers who are bona fide. They're going to make the right decision. They have guys who are going to make the free throws. Chris Paul's poise is too high, right? You've seen them close games in the clutch multiple times. So do you trust Clippers versus the Suns in the clutch? Versus another team, maybe, right, where they're kind of wishy-washy in the clutch. They're similar to you. You might even have an advantage. But Suns have the outright advantage in any close game. Suns have the advantage. They have the advantage. So, it's like you have to, it gets deep in terms of, what it's hard to kind of see how this is going to play out, right? The Suns, if they're smart, have to win this game. You don't want to go back to Clippers' house and have to win game 6. This is what happens most of the times. The team that's the road team in terms of the lower seed, it's easier for them to force a game 7. You know what I'm saying? In terms of coming back from 3-1, because they have to win the game 5 that like the team kind of is lackadaisical and is like, oh, we got this. They have nothing to lose. It's easier for them to win that game as opposed to, the other way around, where the team has all the pressure on the hand and it's game 5, and then it's like you got to close it out, right? And then, they have to win that game and then force, to try and make a 3-1 comeback, right? I mean, it goes both ways. You would think that it's easier for the home team if they have 5 and 7 on their home court. It's easier for them to get 2 and force a game 7, right? But the road team, all they have to do is once they win that game 5, that game 6, a lot of the times becomes a guaranteed one. You see now with the Cavs as the road team. When the team is game 5, obviously Draymond got suspended, but that team's on the road, nothing to lose. They go out, right? It's like you've seen the Mavs on the road, right? You go out full swinging, and the pressure's on the home team. And a lot of the times they lose that game 5. Then now game 6 is like, yo, we home cooking. We have confidence. All we got to do is win this. And now they protect home court, and all of a sudden it's a game 7, right? So the Clippers they have game 6 at home, which is crucial. They have the right path, you know what I mean? In order to, you just got to win one on the road. And they're capable of. Both road games were close, right? So, honestly, anything can happen, obviously, at the end of the day, it's just PG, man. PG has to, it's just PG, man. He has the elite arsenal of a superstar talent. He's smooth. He has the ability, but the mental capacity is, it's sometimes he's there, sometimes he's not. Sometimes his palms are sweaty, sometimes he's there, and you know what I mean? And that's always the next level, right? Ability, yes, is the next level, but mentality, that that real tear where you see it exude in the playoffs, that is a mental thing. Yes, it's skill, but the mental capacity that these guys are operating on Like I said, the KDs, you see Trae Young enter this level, right? You see even Luka, Kawhi, right? You see Tatum, you see these guys. But the real crop, like the LeBron, KD, you know what I mean? The what's it called? The Kyrie, like what he did with the Cavs. You're seeing like those type of small Kawhi, right? What he did with the Raptors. Those elite guys that carry off ability, right? LeBron ability is questionable, but he has done it before with ability. So he's still on this tier. You know what I'm saying? But to carry on that level with all the pressure and, and then, and you're getting 30s and you're snapping, regardless of even how those points come. But to be doing that with the pressure, you have to operate on a higher mental base than the rest of the crop. And that's what separates that small few pack, right? And it's like Paul George's hybrid. He's like, some days he's on that the tier, and then a lot of the times he's on the one tier below that. And a lot of it, all of it, is due to the mental, right? It's due to the mental. So, like missing free throws, man. Man hasn't missed what in a game only once throughout the year. He missed 3 or more free throws or something like that, whatever the stat was. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's multiple games he's missing multiple free throws, crucial free throws, big time free throws, right? Like, come on, man. Not getting buckets in the clutch. People are going to say fatigue, and like, don't do that. You have to people just throw stuff out there all the time. You can't say fatigue. He's not missing these shots short. Like the fatigue, like he's in his prime. He's playing a lot of minutes. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not like obviously it's going to affect, but it's not affecting him OD like that because he's not missing these shots short. It's all back rim. Rattle too hard. Like it's just a focus thing. That's all. Like, and you're gonna miss shots. You're not gonna miss every shot. Like it's not like he's clapping the backboard where it's like complete palm sweaty. But like free throws now, there's nothing but palm sweaty. Like you're overthinking, right? You're overthinking. You're like, that's what he's doing. That's why you can see him say, "Damn!" Like it's a mental thing. He's not strong mentally. I'm hitting this bitch. I'm good, boy. Knock it down. He's overthinking, right? So there's nothing but like that's palm sweaty. If you hoop me, like you have to just be honest and just call it like it is, right? His palm's been sweaty, and it's multiple games. It's not like it, and you're an elite free throw shooter. So, come on, it's just palms being sweaty, man. It's palms being sweaty. So, PG's gonna have to take over. Reggie Jackson is really like he can't go. What did he do? PG went 5 for 20. What did Reggie Jackson do? Reggie Jackson went, 8 for 24. He's gonna have to be more efficient, right? Like Reggie Jackson has been mainly one of the closers, so he's gonna have to, step up. All these guys are gonna have to hit their shots, right? T-Man is probably gonna have to do that run around. Like Morris has to step up. Like a lot of these guys, they have to play almost a perfect game, right? Because again, this is a testament to the Suns. They're forcing them to do one-on-one. The Clippers have never been successful without Kawhi just killing off one-on-one. Here and there, yes, right? And when I mean one-on-one shot creating, I'm not talking about one-on-one get to the paint. A lot of it, they've been doing a lot of one-on-one versus the Jazz, but it's driving to the paint and then driving kick. So it's not one-on-one. It's predicated off one-on-one, but it's one-on-one kill your man, drive, kick, right? It's still ball moving within the one-on-one, not one-on-one shot creating, right? Reggie has done that at times versus the Jazz and stuff like that, but they haven't been had to do it possession after possession after possession after possession. So that's what's different, man. That's what's different. Suns ain't no joke. Now they're going to that home crowd. This could be a blow. Could be an onslaught. I think it'll be a close game because none of these games have been blowouts, right? So I think it'll be a close game. It's going to come down to, do they finally get over the hump? And if they do they win another game at home? All you have to take is one game at a time, right? You can't just foresee and, if you want to force a game 7, it's one game at a time. So, let me know what y'all think in the comment section, what y'all thought about the last games. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, the game happened on the Saturday, so we didn't get to do a breakdown. And, this game, we're going to do a breakdown tomorrow, regardless if they win or lose, right? It's unfortunate that Kawhi is injured. I know a lot of y'all have been like, it's been hard for y'all to been watching this, especially knowing that, Kawhi, like they had a straight path. Like the finals is reachable. And then boom, Kawhi goes down, right? So it's like, I know it's tough. It's tough, man. It's tough. It's hard to assess this. I believe if they were healthy, I feel like, honestly, I'm not even going to say that. The Suns are for real, right? It's not, you can't just automatically, if Kawhi was there, they're guaranteed going to beat them. That's cap. I think it's guaranteed 6 or 7 for sure with Kawhi there. It could go either way. We've seen Kawhi there get 7 games forced with the Mavs. Now you have the Suns, who are better with like, you know what you mean? It's like they went 6 or 7 with every team, so you can't act like it was like, come on, the Clippers in 5. Like, come on now, don't do that. So obviously it's unfortunate, but injuries is part of the sport, man. This happened with the Nets. This happened with other teams. You know what I'm saying? It's part of the sport. It's unfortunate, but that's why you got to celebrate when a team wins. You got to honestly say that, you know what? As much as this might not, or this might, like, you got to give credit where credit is due. You need somewhat luck to win always. No matter how great the team is, you need some luck sometimes to win. And some of that luck is being healthy on your own end, while other teams sometimes aren't. Or even if other teams are, the fact that you were as well too is part of it. So, you know what I mean? You have to count your blessings at the end of the day. So it's True Talks, because True Talks. Share, like, and subscribe. We out here. There's no down here. There's no drought here. You feel me? I appreciate y'all. You already know, man. You already know. And I'm out, man.